You're listening to Not the 99. I'm Mom. I am flying solo today. Everybody's got something going on. Everybody's fine. Don't panic. It's just been a very busy time, and I didn't want to not post a podcast, so I am just going to give a little bit of my testimony. Let's see. When I was growing up, my family, we were not a church family. I remember being told we were Lutheran. I remember being told we were baptized Lutheran. When we were in grade school, I believe we went to Sunday school for a little while, and maybe a month. And then we just stopped going. I later found out why we just stopped going from my mother. She said the pastor at the church that she chose started hitting on her. So she just yanked us out of there, and we never went back. Then, again, growing up, I heard about God. We sang some songs about God. We didn't really go to church, like I said. Then my mother, when I was 17, got sick. She had a brain tumor, and she needed brain surgery. And she didn't do so well. She didn't get through the surgery unharmed. She lived, but there was a lot. She apparently had a stroke on the table, which they didn't tell us right away. She had a stroke, so she was paralyzed on the left side of her body and the right side of her face. And she was never the same. She was alive, but she was dependent on us for care. And she wasn't like a mom anymore because she needed moms. So my sisters and I had to grow up really fast and take care of her and take care of the bills and take care of the household. And I believe I prayed to God for him to get her through the surgery, which he did, but I was kind of upset with him for how things turned out there because I adored my mother and really needed her. A lot growing up, but so God and I we weren't on talking terms then for that period of my life. Then when I was about 28, I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was at work, and I got injured. I was working with adults with mental retardation. They call it intellectual disability. They have all kinds of names for it. He was a very, very physically large man. He had the abilities of a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and he got angry a lot. But I got hurt. He actually was pushing on my stomach with all his might, and there was a tear in my placenta. They actually showed me on the screen. They showed me how big my daughter was, and they showed me the tear, and the tear was about twice as long as her. And they said, there was a danger she could slip right through it, and she'd be gone. So I was put on bed rest for 2 months, I believe. And then I went back to work, and then I had I was praying to God, please let her be okay. Please let me have this baby. Please let her be healthy and fine and keep me healthy. And I had a lot of physical problems when I was pregnant. I think I was allergic to the whole idea. But I had preeclampsia. My heart was stopping towards the end. They had to have me inpatient. But she was born, and she lived. I lived. We're healthy for the most part. And so I guess I kind of rekindled my relationship with God through all that started it. And I started going to a local church here, a Lutheran church that I found. And then I dealt with the death of my daughter's father. He passed away when she was 5. And that was a difficult time. I think church kind of helped her a little bit getting through that at that young age. And then I met my husband, who I married in 2004, I believe it was, when Nicole was about 7. Let me think. Yeah, about 7 or 8. I married him. And then he started to become very mean to me. I honestly, sometimes I would pray that he would just hit me, because then who could blame me for leaving him if he hit me? It would be the line, that was crossed, and I would be justified. We went to church as a family back then, very consistently. I sought some help from the pastor there, and he was aware of what was going on in my home. One Sunday, I felt like the sermon was written just for me. He was saying that too many people stay in harmful marriages for too long because they do not want to break their vows, their promises before God, to stay with this other person. They don't want to upset God. They don't want to break their vows. And he went on to say that, honestly, the other person has already broken their vows by mistreating them and not treasuring them and not honoring them the way they promised to, that they are actually the ones that already broke the vows, that you're not breaking anything if you then leave. And he also said that God does not want his children to be in pain. He does not want them to be harmed, especially by someone who is supposed to care for them, love them, and cherish them. And really, how can you do God's will for his kingdom if you are in a constant state of distress and fear and in survival mode and upset? And how could you do anything good for anyone, including God, if your life is like that? So I finally had the backing to what I felt was to leave him. I felt it was a message through this pastor that it would be okay for me to divorce him, which I then did. And then after that, I went through the whole dating thing. I did the dating apps, and let me tell you, those things really do destroy your self-worth. Like, you'll be talking to someone on there, and and then you'll exchange phone numbers, and you'll text them, and then maybe you'll talk on the phone for a while, and then they'll be so charming, and they'll try to convince you to go on a date with them, and then poof, they disappear. They just ghost you, like they never existed. It's really so, and then sometimes they do exist, and they're just horrible in person and terrible train wrecks of people. But I went through that for a while, and then I said, you know what, Lord, I'm done. I obviously do not know what is good for me, and I'm not going to look anymore. I'm done looking. I'm done trying. I can't find him. If there is a him, if you want me to be with someone, I said to him, you will have to bring him to me, because I'm done. I'm not looking. And if you want me to be alone, then that will be fine too. Whatever your will is, is what will be. I'm done. And then literally 3 days later, Paul messaged me, and Paul and I knew each other from high school, like 9th, 10th grade time. He didn't go to my high school, his sister did. And I kind of met him I think in the summertime or over holidays or whatever. So I was friends with his sister and met him through her. So when he was around, he would hang out with all of us. And he basically he was older. He was graduating school in Connecticut. And then we kind of lost track of each other for, after high school. Back in early 2000s, or whenever Facebook started coming around, I became friends with his sister. She found me, or I found her on Facebook, and then he found me through seeing, me and her interacting. He friend requested me, And then he was living in Connecticut. I didn't talk to him right away. I was still married to my husband then, and we were just friendly, like friends. So the one day I got a message. It's the first time he messaged me on there was, "Hey, were you at Joseph's restaurant yesterday with some man?" And I was like, what, what is this? So I said, yeah. I said, I was with my husband. And he goes, yeah, I cooked there. I was the chef. I thought I saw you. So I said, well, next time come and say hello. So then we went back like 2 weeks later or whatever. And he came out. We were talking. I invited him to join our bowling league because he just moved back to the area. And we were friends. And he was with someone else that he knew from high school at the time. He's a very handy person, and there was a lot of work that needed done on my house. So I did hire him for a couple small jobs for work. And we just kept in touch. And then after I wasn't with my husband anymore, and I did have that conversation with God, I said, you'll have to bring him to me. He, out of the blue, hadn't talked to him in probably 8-9 months for any reason, because the bowling league fell apart a while before that. But anyway, he just messaged me out of the blue and said, hey, where do you think is a good place to go and watch fireworks? And I thought he was still with another person, but he was not. And then he thought I was still dating one of the other people, and I was not. So we decided that he would come over to my house and watch the fireworks from my deck. And that was in 2017. And then in 2020, we were married. And then in 2021, he adopted my adult daughter. And she took his last name. So, this is just part of my testimony. Throughout my life, there's been so many times that I know God has moved in my favor and has changed things. Miraculous little miracles happen, and nothing. I don't think anything is a little miracle, but just he's always kind of letting me know he's there now, and you just have to pay attention. I know a lot of people I've talked to say they want to hear God's voice. They want to hear from him. They want to know they're doing the right thing. They want to know that he's really there for them. And my advice is just pray. And don't be afraid to ask him to show you. Don't be afraid to say, Lord, please give me a sign that you know, I will know it is you. Don't be specific. Leave it up to him. He's amazing. He will find a way to reach to you. He will get you and he will show you. And also don't be afraid to ask for miracles, because you're not going to get them if you don't believe enough that you don't know that he is capable of anything, then how are you ever going to get it? Don't be afraid to ask for it. It will happen. It happened for me. It happens to other people all the time. I hear testimonies and I see testimonies of people that have medical miracles. I had my own medical miracle, which I will talk about at another time because we are out of time. So, let me just say, I will continue this. There'll be a part 2 because there's just too much to put in one episode. I want to thank you for listening. I want y'all to stay safe, keep praying, God bless, and always tip your Uber driver.